Hey everyone, this is Mike,
Hey, and this is Josh.
and this is Must See Before You Die. And we are going to check on some behind the scenes, diving in behind some of the facts or some things maybe you don't know about with Friday the 13th part. What, Josh?
Friday the
Part
13th Part
two.
2 it's not the best entry in the series, but it's not the worst by any means.
And there's some things we saw right here that I did not know. I just found out for myself diving into this a little bit. So let's just jump straight into these and talk, do some talking points as we go. Number one, we see right off the bat, it pops you in the face. You see Jason here with a bag over his head. And then the score by the critics was a 29%. Audience score 48%. These are some of the lowest scores we've looked at so far, right, Josh?
Yeah, definitely. I think Black Christmas, the remake was lower, might have been lower, but yeah, for an older iconic movie that set up a whole franchise with the Jason character, that's pretty low. I
That
mean,
is low.
for an overall score, not just like one guy or another guy saying it. You know what I mean?
Right. So let's go into number one. So Adrienne King, who's the actress that played Alice, who was in the number one, she was originally meant to star in the film as the main character, not just cameo in the first scene. And then she gets killed off really early in the movie.
Yeah, I was puzzled. I was puzzled by this, Mike. Honestly, watching it, I'm like, why did they like such a like a stronger character? Like she killed, Mrs. Voorhees. She survived from the phone call and different things. She's kind of surviving with a lot of like mental anguish and maybe some PTSD and different things like that. And for her to be taken out like that, it disappoints me, to be honest, Mike.
Yeah. She was definitely a strong character in the first one. You thought she would be a little ways further in the movie, maybe on this one, but she
Yeah.
is taken out within the first 5-6 minutes of the movie.
Well, it can't be the first of 5, 6 because that's the rundown of the first one. I would
Oh,
say
that's right. Yeah, it's like, well, let's say a minute after that. You're right. The first 5 or 6 minutes of this is a recap of the original, and she's
Horrible.
wearing a horrible green jumpsuit outfit with a green turtleneck on it. Right? Oh my god, that looked like 1970 instead of
Well,
1980.
maybe she wore all that because at the time she did have a pretty, like in real life, she had a pretty serious stalker. So maybe she wanted just to be covered up and not, I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
think in some of the interviews I'd read with her, coming out of her mouth herself, there was a bad stalker after the first one, and she was kind of iffy. She even wanted to be in this one. Maybe that's why they killed her off early. I don't know. I've heard different things, even from her. I've heard something totally different. But she also she talks about nowadays that she had a stalker that had a gun to her head at one
Yeah,
point.
I saw that too, Mike. Like there was a gun to her head at one point in time. That is
Crazy.
over this movie or something. I don't know. I mean, but it's insane.
Yes. So number two on here is in one of the takes of Alice's death, the prop ice pick didn't retract, and it actually injured
I
Mrs.
think
King in
she
it.
ended up suing over that, Mike.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
I think so because it wasn't. She claims that the pick was never tested beforehand, so it was a collapsible, but it didn't collapse right. And you can kind of see it when he first starts pushing it. It like indents her skin, like so. And he did put it right to her temple. So now the uncut kill of this, I ended up seeing it on this other thing I watched. They don't show it in this movie, but the pick ends up coming out right about here of her nose, and then you can see it sticking out, Mike. Like
Oh,
it goes,
wow.
it
I
goes
haven't
from
seen
here
that.
and it comes out about here, and you see the end of the pick sticking out. And she's like that. So these uncut scenes of all the kills, there's a bunch of them because this movie got censored a lot. You can see them on a release of, I think the Blu-ray release of 2009.
I got to
But
check that out.
I think you can find them on YouTube, right here on YouTube as well, Mike. But
Okay. I'm going to go back and check that out tonight then.
they show all the uncut. So what happened was the guy that did the makeup for this movie had an old VHS copy of the movie originally, but when it was not tampered at all. And they ended up, I think, pulling a lot of those scenes from that VHS tape.
Wow.
Yep. Yep.
So number three on here is three actors and I believe Josh says there may even been a couple more that played like different body parts of Jason, but 3 actors mainly played Jason in this film. You had a female, Ellen Lutter, at the very beginning of this movie when Jason's walking around in the street and there's rain and water puddles and stuff like that. She actually played that scene. You got Warrington Gillette, who only worked 2 weeks on the set. He's the one at the very end of the movie that comes crashing through the window. And then I'm going to butcher this guy's last name, but Steve, is it Daskowitz? I don't know how
I
you
think
pronounce
that's right.
the end of that. But he's the one that played most of the scenes in the movie. And in fact, I did see an interview with him where he says that the main character, Jenny in the movie, which was Amy Steele, she stayed completely away from him during the whole time. He stayed completely away from the teenagers so that it would build up this more of a scare, to them when he finally did act with them.
So also I saw that he was injured on the movie. He the lady that played Jenny swung a machete at him when he had that pickaxe right in this scene right here that you see right there. And it accidentally hit one of his hands and cut him pretty bad. He had to get stitches and stuff. And he was in full makeup. Like they showed it. He was like getting stitched up on his arm. And he had that machete, or he had that. Maybe
it was the machete like deep into his shoulder.
Yeah, I think that's what I saw in the clip. Also, when he was running after Jenny in the chase scene, he fell on a pickaxe and hurt one of his ribs really bad.
Yeah, I thought they said he broke a couple ribs.
Yeah, I think so. Well, if you fall on a pickaxe, yeah.
Lucky it didn't go up through him and kill him.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So the deaths of Jeff and Sandra were deemed too graphic by the MPAA.
Right.
So Jeff and Sandra were the two teenagers that were making out in the bed and got the spear through them. So, the version I saw on it today again showed very little. It just showed it, Jason behind him sticking it through, and it showed up underneath the bed, the blood and the spear coming through.
Well,
there was really hardly anything to it.
Right. And the thing that I watched said that the reason why they didn't like it is because like they were getting speared together while they were, having sex or whatever. And like the blood just comes bubbling up from the body. Like, cause I watched the uncut kill. They showed it, Mike. So when it comes like the more blood comes down and the blood actually is like comes upward through the wound up top. It's more gruesome for sure.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You got to see these kills, Mike.
Yeah. I got to go back and check those out.
And then, then that's it. And also they did film some scenes of Sandra nude, but it turns out she was only 17 at the time of filming. And so they grabbed that footage and destroyed it. So
wow.
I mean, usually when you see I don't want to sound sexist or anything, but when you see like a bustier girl in a scary movie, you're like, okay, she's getting naked at some point. And a different actress actually got naked in this movie who was like 20 at the time. But yeah, so they had to destroy that footage, Mike, because she was only 17 at the time. They didn't know it. Wow.
So the next one says 48 seconds of the film were cut to avoid an X rating.
Yeah, that includes the kills, and I don't know. I mean, there is some nudity, and I don't know if obviously the Sandra nudity was destroyed, but I don't know if they cut more nudity out or not. But I know they definitely hampered basically every single one of the kills. So
this next one is one that really shocked me, and I know it's
Mike,
just.
I want to say one thing.
Josh.
So also on that kill with Mike in the wheelchair, you see full face machete in face, Mike, too. It's pretty gruesome, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of my, watch our kind of retake on it.
Well, you don't get to see it as much in this. This is more than what you got to see, is what I'm saying.
I got to see that then.
Yeah, it's like embedded right in his face, dude. It's crazy looking.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this is one like I said earlier, I did not know until today, but this is supposedly this was written in the original, the original script. That I remember there's a scene where Jenny's underneath the bed, Jason's in there, and then a rat comes up, and then next thing you know, you see pee coming out from underneath the bed. I've always thought Jenny is the one that pissed her pants, and that and then Jason act like he was going out, and he came back and he tried to swing at her or fell off the chair or something. It says it actually was written in the script that it was the rat that pissed, not Jenny.
Okay. Yeah,
Never knew that.
I thought it was the rat. Like, I didn't think it was ever Jenny. I always thought it was the rat when I saw this on television and stuff when I was a kid. I thought it was the rat.
See, I always thought it was Jenny.
Well, because Jenny already had Jenny already had interaction with him at this point. So like, I didn't think, why would she pee her pants now?
I thought the rat made her piss her pants.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
So the next one is Amy Steele, of course, who played Jenny in the movie, was not a fan of the scene where Jason jumps through the window to grab her at the very end. What I saw was it said it really scared her to death all 3 times, and they visibly could tell she was scared, kind of shaking a little bit. It did take 3 cuts. Three times they had to cut this to finally get the one they wanted. But and also this is the one where Warrington Gillette, is him at the very end of this. They must have filmed that at the beginning because they said within 2 weeks he was fired.
Yeah, they said that they filmed that scene first, and he cut himself on the window when he came through, and you can actually see blood on his head through the makeup on the deformed side. Also, the first take, he bounced off the window. He didn't break it.
Yeah, I saw that.
So they were like, and then that's when they were kind of keying, like, this guy said he was an expert stuntman, and like, no, he's not. And then that's why he ended up getting fired. From what I saw, is that they kind of caught on, like, this guy lied on his resume or lied to us, and he really isn't experienced as we thought he was.
So the next one says Paul's fate even confuses the actors involved in the film. So even talking to some of the main actors that were part of this and the backup actors that were part of the movie, some people didn't know if Paul really survived or not, because at the very end, you had that scene happen with the dog and Paul and Jenny, but then they show her getting into an ambulance, and she's and she's asking where Paul's at. So a lot of people, I've always thought he survived. But I've heard some people thought that maybe he died too.
Well, I mean, he is tussling there with Jason. I mean, he could have been stabbed right there, but there's 2 points that I saw. One point, they go back into Jason's shack at the end, and they have a lingering shot on Jason's mom head. Well, when it first goes in, you see that decent look. You see that, that woman on the ground,
call it like it is in the 80s.
The hot woman on the ground.
She was the hot chick for the movie, Josh.
Right. She's on the ground, and then you see the sheriff over here, but you don't see Paul anywhere. And he would have been laying on the ground still if that was true. So he's not there. Another thing is, someone made the thing, and that's what it said. In the third Friday the 13th movie, they're watching a news report about what happened, and it says 8 people were killed at the camp. So that accounts for everybody there. And Paul would have been actually number 9. So that's why they say Paul was not murdered as well. What happened to Paul, we don't know. I mean, the movie, in my opinion, messed up there. They should have actually showed him helping or whatever. But literally, she fainted after killing Jason with that machete, and they found her. I'm assuming people came back from the bar and found it all, and that's who called the ambulance. That's what I would think happened.
Yeah, I mean, it had to be somebody else.
Right. Maybe the red-haired dude came back after partying all night and called. But I would say Paul called. He could have called. So, but where was he? Who knows? We have that's still a mystery today.
All right. So the last one, and we're definitely not condoning, of course, killing police officers, but this is just a fact here behind the scenes in 1981 that both Friday the 13th Part 2 and Halloween Part 2 feature the villains killing a law enforcement officer with a hammer to the head.
Well,
both movies were released in 1981.
Mike, cops always get killed in horror movies because they're buffoons in movies, in my opinion.
With a hammer? What's the odds of both of them? Did one of them read the script of the other one and copy them?
But I mean, obviously, we're not going to be condoning killing police officers, Mike. But like, cops always die in horror movies because they're usually they're arrogant in movies and they don't believe what the people are saying and they die. or they're just buffoons and don't realize it, and like this guy walking around like and boom, right to the back of the head, you know.
That claw hammer in the back of the head was probably up there in my top 3 kills in this
Oh
movie.
yeah, that kill was awesome. And the guy's mouth, he was like, ah. But yeah, the claw hammer to the back of the head was really good. And you're right, they do the same thing on a Friday the 13th or on a Halloween. So yeah, I mean, I think Michael Myers probably kills a lot more cops than Jason Voorhees does. I mean, he takes out a lot of cops in his movies. I think even in that movie, he kills a cop with a what are those knives called that doctors use?
Scalpel.
He kills a cop with a scalpel in that movie too.
Yep.
So I mean, he kills a lot of police officers in his movies, but yeah, I don't know if Jason Voorhees does that a lot. In my opinion, I can't remember the other movies, but yeah, you're right. To have the exact same kill in 2 similar movies, and the one came out first, so you automatically say, well, this one copied this one, but that might not be true. Who knows? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know which one came out first that year, but
it was Friday the 13th too.
It's just a little oddity or a fact that I thought was pretty cool to throw in there.
Friday the 13th Part 2 came out first, Mike.
Okay, so Halloween copied. All right, so what do you guys think? Did you know any of these things behind the scenes? If there's anything else you may know that we don't know, please put it in the comments of this video. Please let us know also, what do you think about the new formats we're doing here for both shows going forward? We're going to try it out a little bit different. And we're going to be doing the behind the scenes look next after we do a review of part 3 of Friday the 13th. So that's going to be fun
3D.
too.
The Friday the 13th movie franchise got caught up in the 3D craze of the early 80s. And I've never watched a movie with 3D glasses, but I'm going to coming up.
All right. Please like, comment, subscribe. You guys have a good one, Josh. Take care, man.
Yep. Bye-bye. See you guys.
Right. Bye.